Hey, I'm Emilio.
Hey, I'm Rian.
And welcome to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast.
We're two friends that have only ever met through the internet.
Join us as we talk about our lives in this epic show.
And the show starts now. I feel like I'm winning the staring contest between the two of us right now. As per usual.
Actually, it was a first person to talk loses contest, and you just lost.
God damn it. Can we do a retake of this? We just scrap the episode and start over again.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. Except it's not really. Welcome to the show. We canceled the show. You're actually on the wrong stage. This show is now called Hour-Long Human Soundboard Machine. So basically, what's going to happen is that Ryan's going to talk throughout the entire 30 minutes of the podcast. And yes, I'm just going to try to do the sound effects to make it feel like there's a studio audience.
Wow, that would be really professional. Unfortunately, we're not one of those podcast guys.
It's an experimental show.
True. I honestly thought at first you said our show got canceled for something we did or said in an episode, which I would 100% believe, since the last episode we talked about evading taxes. So I wouldn't be surprised.
No, Ryan, being canceled is not the same as committing a felony. Anyways, guys, double prank. Just kidding. The show is back. It was a double prank. The cameras are everywhere. There's a camera there. There's a camera there. There's a camera there.
What? Dude, I didn't even... First of all, Emilio, your dedication to the show as always is fantastic. You hired an entire film crew to secretly bring all these hundreds of cameras on. You got me, man. I didn't even know about it. And we're recording the show now. But speaking of which, guys, once again, thank you for tuning into another episode of the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast. Brian and Emilio, as always, glad to have you guys back for another epic episode, which I'm sure will have a lot of amazing topics with our studio audience present here that'll be applauding like every 30 seconds. Very realistic, definitely not Emilio. And for those of you watching the video version, he just edited that in for
triple prank, human soundboard is the real show again.
Wow. Who would have thought, man? Wow.
No, guys, welcome back to another classic episode. Just me and Ryan here.
Nope. No guests this time around, guys. Sorry, but at least you have us. Yeah. There are some benefits.
Time for the typical man-child adventures. No adult stories. Grown-up stories like last week about raising kids or taxes. No, we're talking about like really stuff that we take way too seriously. Stuff,
this podcast isn't for that.
Yeah, no, we're going to talk about like, I don't know, something like that only people that probably shouldn't be considered adults care about, like, what's up with Star Wars?
Or the latest Star Trek movie that came out, which there hasn't been, but we talk about that kind of nerdy stuff here on the show. Stuff that people don't really care about and you can't really use to get anywhere in life, but that's our bread and butter pretty much.
Hell yeah. So we have basically 2 weeks to get through, Ryan. So basically, why don't you just tell us how there was no house update for 2 weeks and how you just went to work and went to bed.
Actually, I have a few cool updates, including an actual house update. But get this, guys, there's a twist. The project that I'm about to talk about didn't take place inside the house. It took place in the lawn of the house, right outside. This is an outside house update. Special edition for this episode. Cue the intro, please.
Holy crap.
House update!
So, guys, I have a few cool updates to share within the past 2 weeks. Sorry we didn't do a week recap last week. We had our awesome guest, Dennis, on, who was educating us on taxes, D&D, and raising children, none of which Emilio and I will ever do because we're doing this show, so that's clear evidence at this point.
We are sterile and do not make enough money to pay taxes.
Nope. We actually owe money to this show, if anything. Yeah. Which, by the way, Ko-fi, guys.
Ko-fi?
We need to mention that once an episode. If you guys want us to not be sterile anymore, donate to this
Could
podcast.
you explain what Kofi is? I feel like we never
Guys,
talk about it.
Kofi is this amazing service that if you magically press the little button that says donate, and all the money that goes from 1,000 to 0 in your bank account magically teleports to us. And what do we do after this amazing magic trick concludes? We buy all sorts of unnecessary shit and forget about this show even existing. And then we'll do the same thing again and eBay the next episode for more money. Basically, give us money.
Kofi's this really cool site where you like type down like the biggest number you can think, right? And you just submit it, and maybe you win.
It's
I don't know. If you put the highest number there, you'll win.
Yeah, you try and get the high score, but you just keep tapping the plus button, and if the number goes high and you press donate, you win. You know, it's just that simple. So the past 2 weeks, guys, I have a few updates to discuss. First of all, with the house, no real updates on the interior of it. We are still working on fixing the ceiling and the water damage I've highlighted the past few episodes. However, we have made some very good progress, and I have some very tired arms from the past few days.
My man.
We have, yeah, not what you're thinking, but hell yeah. Yeah, sorry. The disappointment goes away. No, guys, we have been clearing out a number of trees as well as brush and as well as old fencing that is on the property.
Dude, you're just like the villain from the Lorax, getting rid of the trees.
I'm basically the Onceler, basically right now on the property, getting rid of all the trees and old farm fencing that's taking up a good chunk of the property.
How bad can I be?
But yes, guys, we have been clearing off a lot of things on the property. For those of you who missed it, this is an old farmhouse with a fairly big, expansive property. That base of that house is actually down from a hill that's slanted. I live in the countryside, so there's a lot of land and area to cover. On the hill, however, leading down toward the house, there's a lot of old fencing and old farm equipment that's still been left on the property. A lot of trees, a lot of branches. In order for us to successfully not only mow the property come summer, but we're also planning on building some things on the property in that space. We unfortunately have to undergo a several-day process in order to clear out all the fencing, all of the trees and everything on the property, cutting down the trees, using wire cutters to cut out the fencing, which is a lot of work. And I probably put on about like 20 pounds of muscle on my arms. It feels like it's been a lot of work, a lot of using a tractor amongst other things, but me and my family have been doing some good work down there, clearing some space, made some good progress on it so far while we're working on the interior stuff. So this is a positive house update. A lot of hard work going on, but yeah, I know it's been a while. 2025 hasn't been good for the house update this year, but fortunately, this one is a positive thing. Progress has been made, and fortunately, we are progressing well with it. Outside of that, the past few weeks, guys, I've undergone a few day trips and whatnot as well. Traveled to a few different states over the past few weeks, hung out with some family members. Work I've been to here and there as well. You know, kind of the standard stuff with some fun day trips. And another big update that I have for you guys that Emilio knows, which was the key, so to speak, to this whole, which is the key to this whole recap. For those of you guys who missed it on the Top Pod Insta, which you wouldn't because it's not on there, but it might eventually be.
For the 3 people that follow Ryan on Instagram.
Yeah, so the very few people who follow me on Instagram, I have my official 4th. Unfortunately, I can't show it. This is my official.
There's a picture showing up right now.
Yeah. This is my 4th tattoo that I have gotten. This is a Keyblade from the Kingdom Hearts series. It's a series that I grew up with playing. I really enjoyed. Not really the reason why I got this one, though. This one here is the Oblivion Keyblade. Awesome design. Small black Keyblade. Uses a weapon in the game as well as unlocking things, that kind of deal. The reason I like this one so much and I wanted to get it wasn't just because I'm a fan of the game series. I went and got it for a few personal reasons. Not only because it was there for me in my childhood, a lot of critical points, but it also has some personal significance with some family members of mine as well. And I went and got it done at the same studio that has worked on my other tattoos that I've shown off here in the past. This one didn't take long. This was actually the shortest tattoo I've gotten. This one took 45 minutes to get done and $90, which for how detailed it is, it's actually pretty good price, all things considered. But they did an incredible job. I really like this one. It's not my favorite one. I don't think I've gotten. For personal significance and like emotional weight, it is. But in terms of actual detail and design, as well as like the back history behind it, definitely this one that I got before that I showed off. But that's something else that I was up to as well.
Right to return
So-
Ryan, freedom fighter, ally of native communities.
Is that from that freaking meme you sent me not too long ago, by the way? That's what I thought.
I knew it was like a video game thing, but my explanation's like way cooler.
I mean, I think Emilio just Googled photos of keys and like, oh, cool, let's send this one to him. I think this would be epic.
No, you don't know what that means?
No, not really. I didn't look into it too much before the show.
People that have been expelled from Palestine, they keep their house keys, sort of as a symbol that means that one day they will return. So
actually, the example that comes to mind for me is when I talked about losing my car key a while back, and I had to go and order a new one. So I figured, why don't I just get a tattoo of my car key and show it to them? That way, if I ever lose it in the future, they can just order
so I
a new
remember
one.
what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly. I need to, man. You know,
I lost my key. It kind of looks like this one.
Pretty much. Even though, again, I can't. The position of it's really awkward, so I can't fully show it. But you'll see the image, guys. But that's kind of the highlights of what I've been up to the past few weeks. Some pretty cool stuff as of right now. Now, Amelia, what about you, bud? What have you been up to these past 2 weeks?
Man, oh man, has it been a Ryan type week for me? I got
so
sick.
You're going to say a lot of boring stuff, but have an interesting story mixed in.
No, I'm just gonna say boring stuff. That's what I mean.
Oh. My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
So I was sick. If you guys saw the last podcast, you probably noticed.
Oh yeah, that's right. You mentioned you were coming out with a cold or something when we recorded with Dennis.
Yeah, because I was like, we finished recording with Dennis, and I told Ryan, hey man, I'm really sick, and he kept asking me stuff about like analytics of the podcast, and I was dying, man. I was like, Ryan, I'm so
like
freaking high on cough
basically.
syrup. I'm about to collapse, and you won't let me just die. Anyways, guys, so yeah, I got sick. So I didn't do much. The America trip is seeing a bit of a setback even before it starts.
Oh no,
so
he's not going to America.
As you guys know, I'm going to the Club World Cup, but my team is getting disqualified for some bullshit reason. So the FIFA, the governing body of soccer, was like, so we know that we've used you guys in all of the promotional material, and we already sold all the tickets to the games, but we're not such fans that two teams in your country have the same owner, so one of you two guys has to leave. Eeny, miny, mo. Sure, Emilio's team. You guys can drop. You guys can drop. We're gonna kick you guys out. Right now, they're fighting in court to let my team play. I really hope they win the case.
I wouldn't bank on it too much, buddy. Though.
Legal experts say that yes, my team is in the right because they added that rule after my team had qualified, so they can't hold it up. However, corruption. And so
just leave it at that, no context.
Yeah,
like, dude.
Let's just say that corruption in sports is pretty present. So there is a chance my team might not even go to the tournament.
Buddy, I have a confession to make, and I've been wanting to reveal this. This has been in the works for weeks, and I'm very happy you're talking about it now without me even mentioning it. Do you remember when we talked about the America trip that you were going to take episodes ago, and you said you weren't going to Ryansville because you were too cheap to pay an extra couple $100 to get there? Well, wow, $300 was really expensive, man. So I was really offended by that. So I took the liberty of calling up the soccer commission in Mexico, and I told them, guys, at the worst possible moment, sabotage this man's trip, ban his soccer team. And therefore, here we are now.
Now with the refund money, I can go to Ryansville, Pennsylvania.
Oh, in that case, then, yeah, your team should be good to go. Then I'll make a call after the episode.
So yeah, right now it's just, my trip is kind of in limbo because I'm like, not to offend the people of Atlanta, Nashville, and Orlando, but I was only going to those cities because my team was playing there. So I don't really know what to do.
I can give you go to Ryansville. This is the perfect opportunity for us to do the episode. You have the extra money. Make the trip.
I think I'd rather go to Orlando.
Make it part of your trip. We can finally do the live top pod that everyone's been waiting for. This is an opportunity.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. I already paid for everything other than like bus tickets to get between those 3 cities, but all my plane tickets, all hotels, everything's already paid, and yeah, so it's a bit frustrating. I don't know what's gonna happen. I'll keep you guys updated. I'm actually kind of I got really sad that day, man. I was like, and all my friends, we all support the same team because it's like a local club.
I'm sorry to hear, buddy.
So yeah, we're kind of disappointed. Hopefully they do end up going, but who knows what will happen. On other news, on the Take 10K training update, since I was sick, I didn't really do any running.
He did nothing.
I did
His
nothing.
muscles have slowly started to degrade.
Dude, this week, I went to play soccer and I went to play goalie, and I was like, during the warm up, I was like, I can't even. I've lost I can't breathe because of the fucking cold. And yesterday,
I lost my to run. I'm done with the 10K.
Yesterday, I went running with a friend of mine and her sister, and I told her I'm just gonna run 5K right now because I've just recovered from being sick. So, anyways, I finished my 5K, and she kept running, and she was like, "Come on, man, we're not gonna stop." I'm like, dude,
it was like, please
I'm
stop.
fucking dying.
So much, please stop.
I just got back from a cold.
Guys, I'm gonna collapse within the first few steps, please.
Dude, today I can't even feel my feet. Genuinely, I can't feel my fucking feet.
Wow. It was just a cold, or was it like a severe virus? Because I haven't heard of a common cold affecting somebody this badly, especially in like that long of a stretch.
I don't know, but I always kind of wanted a disease named after me, like.
If you had a disease named after you, what would it be called? Smelly cheese.
You've just been diagnosed with top pod. Fuck me.
Top pod
disease.
Wow, this actually that fits. This show is so good. It's so infectious that everyone wants to see it as soon as they come across it on the internet.
Anyways, and yeah, but that's my week. Next week might be more exciting because I am going to see Olivia Rodrigo in concert. So maybe something happens to me on a trip, because that's what always happens to me when I have a trip, except when it's a work trip. So,
I mean, honestly, what I'm expecting you to more so talk about next week, which is cool on the trip, I'm more so expecting you to talk about how amazing Snow White is, because I know you've been very hyped for this movie for the last little while. Dude, I've seen all the great reviews of it recently.
I'm so fucking angry because, like, obviously the worst part about that movie is Gal Gadot. Like, honestly, Gal Gadot is such a shitty,
100% dedicated Gal Gadot hater.
She's such a shitty fucking actress, dude. It's like, dude, we could do a better job, and we have never had professional training.
All the hate right now has been on Rachel Zegler, and Emilio's like, nah, screw all that controversy. Gal Gadot.
Well, yeah, because 100%, like the hate towards Rachel Zegler is completely unjustified. Honestly,
this is a celebrity crush. Keep in mind,
if someone brings me a good argument as to why Rachel Zegler is responsible for the flop of this movie, I will delete this account. Honestly.
I have a lot of them, but I also need the income from this show, so I don't want the page deleted.
Because, like, Rachel Zegler is a classically trained Broadway performer, and Gal Gadot is just someone who was made popular because she was in a mildly successful movie that was Wonder Woman.
I mean, Gal Gadot,
where she wasn't even the best actor. She got hyper carried by the script and the other supporting cast.
Jeez, this hate for Gal Gadot goes deeper than I thought. I mean, honestly, as far as an actress goes, she's fine. I've seen Wonder Woman, Death on the Nile. I've seen that action movie she did on Netflix with The Rock and Ryan Reynolds, Red Notice. I have seen
I
movies
think
with
you're
her
the
in
only
it.
person that's seen those two last ones.
Probably, to be honest. I mean,
Kal-El, no.
Like Death on the
come
Nile,
on.
for instance, she was decent in. That's a murder mystery series based off the Agatha Christie murder mystery novels. As an actress, I always thought she was fine, not one of my favorites, but I didn't expect, even from Emilio, this level of hatred toward Gal Gadot. I didn't know it went this deep.
I just hate seeing my goat being dragged because of the fucking mediocrity of someone
Rachel
else.
Zegler, if you're watching this is your number one fan right here. Please invite him out to the next premiere of whatever movie you're in next.
She's no longer my celebrity crush. She's my hero, man. That's how big of a fan I am.
Then now this is called obsession. What you accused me of with Danielle Panabaker, you have now gone from creep to creep, but now worse.
No, dude, I think she's a goat, man. She's a fucking hero, and she's only getting drugged. She's only being accused of being the reason of the flop of this movie due to the sort of her political opinions.
Yeah, like comments made about Snow White, the audience, Disney's a corporation, etc. I don't think that's the reason why the movie itself is bombing. I think that's just more a scapegoat reason. I will agree. It's because the movie isn't very good. And the track record for live action Disney films hasn't been great to begin with, trying to remake old classics. I don't think it's just some comments from an actress or actor, for that matter, that brings down an entire big budget movie. Because this movie I think it's one of the more expensive ones that's been made over the past decade.
I mean, I'm not really that sure about that, about the budget. But I'm like, for example, the marketing wasn't as prevalent as something for like the Lion King remake, right? Or all the other live action ones. And what can I say?
I've known you for a long time, buddy. I just didn't know that you had a celebrity that you despise this much, for the hatred just goes so deep.
I have so many
depths of your soul.
I could go on to why, but I promised Ryan I wouldn't get political on this show, so I'm not gonna say why I hate Gal Gadot.
I think you told me before. I just didn't. I think we talked like outside of the pod or something about it, but I don't remember exactly. But we don't need to get political too much on the show, guys. One thing, we already get political enough with hot topics that we've covered across multiple episodes, like exposing corrupt mayors with Emilio's grandfather, for example, in that episode, or taxes, like with the IRS last time. So we really don't need to get too in depth this time around. But I will say is though.
But if you know my politics and my little key joke from the beginning of the show, it can very much explain why I dislike Gal Gadot. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
By the way, there's your TikTok clip. By the way, I had a bit of a rant. Since Emilio was ranting about Gal Gadot, I have a rant that I want to bring on the podcast now too, briefly. And this is something that's been bugging me. So one big thing that I did on our 2-week break was I went and picked up a family member of mine in a faraway city known as College Park, where both of them go to university.
Very creative name.
That's the name of the place. It's located a little bit out of Washington, D.C., and the traffic driving there is awful. It has the notorious D.C. traffic over the course of a 2.5-hour drive. D.C. traffic referring
guys,
to...
do consider that Ryansville, Pennsylvania has like 300 people. So if Ryan sees more than 5 cars, that's already a huge traffic jam. So.
Dude, if I see anything more than one-lane traffic, it's a traffic jam. Much less the number of cars. But for those of you who don't know what DC traffic is, it refers to, because DC is such a metropolitan area, has multiple different cars traveling from people who live there, people traveling out of state, or going there on business to work. There's a lot of big industry there that brings a lot of traffic. It's referring to 6-lane traffic, where you have a bunch of cars driving in at once, weaving in and out of lanes, trying to merge and go off of multiple exits. 6 different lanes of traffic, which is already a cluster in itself, with trying to avoid crappy drivers and everything else. It's not fun to drive through for those of you who've experienced it. For me, I had to endure that traffic, but that's not really the complaint that I have. The complaint comes from driving in this DC traffic, where I was driving back after picking up my family member. On the way back, I came across a site that I never thought I would see in person, something that we have highlighted on this podcast, on our old show in the past. I looked in my rearview mirror at a car that was about yay far from my bumper, wondering who could possibly get this close to possibly hit me. It was one of the shittiest cars I've ever seen in my life, the Cybertruck. I see one in person for the first time ever, or the second time ever, at least up close. This car, guys, is one of the biggest pieces of dog shit I've ever seen in terms of car design, and it's always been a grudge of mine in the car industry. I absolutely despise it. Cars in general, to me, have always been a thing where if they're reasonably priced, if there are decent miles on it, maybe not a new car that you drop a lot of money on, but as long as it's a reliable car that you're not spending an arm and a leg on to get you where you need to go, it's fine. But I've always had a thing against buying really expensive cars, like $100,000 cars with not even great innovations to them, like leather seats or a sky roof and whatever, which doesn't justify the cost of $100,000 to begin with. Now, a lot of people in this country, at least, spend on houses. You're dropping the price of a house on a car. It doesn't make any sense to me. And if you wreck that car, all that money is gone in general. So it never made sense to me. These Cybertrucks, though, cars that cost several $100,000 that look like a rejected PS1 polygon from the original gaming days, for those of you who know the PlayStation 1 even is, it looks absolutely terrible. I read articles on it after that trip took place, and there is nothing about these Cybertrucks that prove the price tag in any way that should justify the cost. They're not even there's no four doors on them, 2 seats, not even the best leather. There's not a lot of good tech in there to play your music or sunroof or anything else. It's just a terrible looking block design. So it's something I wanted to rant a little bit about on the show. Expensive cars in general don't make sense to me. They're not worth purchasing for the price. And these Cybertrucks are some of the worst examples of it in the modern day that I've seen, to the point where many of them have also been recalled recently as well for various tech issues. The moral of the story, guys, is the Cybertruck and expensive cars are not worth the price. If you have $100,000 that's burning a hole in your pocket, either donate it to us on Ko-fi like we talked about before, or just drop it on a freaking house. Because at least you can live in the house and you won't risk wrecking it on the road and losing all the money.
Yeah, if you're thinking of buying a Cybertruck, we recommend growing the fuck up and getting some goddamn taste.
Yes, please.
Dude, those cars are so ugly.
They don't look the best. It's not worth the price. There's no new features that justify that much money.
And it's dangerous.
They're dangerous cars as well. I've been driving on the road for a long time, for many years, and I've seen 2 of these Cybertrucks in my area, which goes to show not a lot of people around here buy them, probably for good reason. For one thing, you have to donate both your kidneys and a piece of your liver to afford one, but they're just not worth it.
They're also pretty impractical, I think, because
the design alone is extremely impractical.
I don't think it can carry as much as a regular pickup truck, which was supposed to be like the cheap alternative.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, and it's dangerous in crashes because it's dangerous not just for the person driving, but also for everybody around it. So like normal cars are designed so if you crash, the car takes most of the blow and you'll be fine. But the Cybertruck doesn't do that. No. So maybe the car will be fine, but you'll break your entire bones system.
It just doesn't make any sense from a design perspective. Definitely not for
Oh.
I'm allergic to these freaking Cybertrucks, man.
I'm allergic to people that don't donate on Ko-fi, and there feels like a lot of you guys are donating, man.
Which is pretty much every viewer of the show. Guys, some of you out there probably own a Cybertruck or maybe another expensive car that's just really impractical for the price.
Please
Why are you buying these expensive vehicles that you're going to trade in within 5 years?
For example,
when you can donate to us.
For example, when I'm talking about like expensive cars, like if someone wants to buy a Ferrari, or if you want, not even like like a sports car in general.
Yeah, sports car in general that works. Not even just a Cybertruck, just any expensive car.
Like,
period.
At least sports cars are cool. Like,
yeah, they're cool to look at, but if it wasn't for one anecdote that I have from my high school days, my opinion might be a little different on pouring a bunch of money into
did you have a classmate with a sports car?
I did, actually. I knew somebody, an old friend of mine. It's this, for context too, for a past episode, guys, a little bit of a callback. This is the same guy who used the 10 condoms at the campsite. It's the same guy.
Of course, he had a sports car. To
in this
of course, he had a sports car. Of course,
he's the one who had it was a Mustang that he had specifically.
Oh, well, okay.
So
okay, but like a Mustang isn't.
It was the sports model Mustang.
But like a Mustang is still a bit more reasonably priced than, for example, a Lambo
even so, though,
or a Porsche.
For context for the anecdote, guys, and a big example for me early on why I have this opinion on not liking expensive cars or the Cybertruck and all this other stuff in general, is because an old friend of mine, I haven't talked with him in many years, back when we were juniors, junior to senior year, 2016, 2017, he was the only person I knew in my old high school who went and purchased a Mustang.
Did he crash the car, Ryan?
Maybe. So, short version, he ended up going and purchasing a Mustang back when we were in high school, about, again, 2016, 2017, between our junior and senior year. And he was bragging to all of us and talking about how much he really liked the car. And to his credit, it was a nice car. Beautiful red sports car, beautiful paint job, the two leather interior, 2 doors, top of the line stereo system, leather steering wheel. It was a really nice car.
Sounds like you're jealous.
However, though, it wasn't enough for him just to buy the car. He worked a job at the time. I can't remember exactly what job he had, but every paycheck that he earned from his high school job that he worked in the local town where our school was at, he would pour into this car. He refurbished it with everything, top of the line engine, booster on the back for the ignition. He had the latest seats updated. He had everything that you can imagine, from the paint job to the interior, done on this car. Every paycheck. He didn't save it. He put it into the car. This car quickly became more and more expensive. And one day, while we're in our home room, he's telling us about all these cool upgrades he gave the car. I personally told him, dude, you do realize that if something happens to this car, it doesn't matter how much money you poured into it. If you say total it or something happens to it, you're going to lose all of the money that you just invested. He's like, man,
okay, hold on. You're just jealous. But number two, that's just any.
I was fine just to have a car. I don't.
That's
care
just
about
any hobby.
Vehicles.
Like we could say that about any hobby that anybody has. I feel like if
my thing of,
I could say, well, what happens if all your video games explode?
Well, they won't because I don't drive my video games. I play them, but I think they'll be fine. But for me with cars, if people want to buy expensive cars, it's fine. But to me, I'm a practical driver. I like to get cars that are reasonably priced, that are reliable for gas mileage, decent paint job, not beat up or anything like that. But I don't believe in buying over the top cars for expensive amounts of money. Because shortly after I told him this statement while we were in the room about, if the car gets totaled or something, the money's gone. I'm kidding you not. A week or so later, we found out from him over the weekend before we went back to school. He was driving home one night with his dad. He was going around a corner, a road that goes back into the local town where we went to school. It was raining and the road was pretty slick that night. They were making a turn that had a really steep embankment that went over a hill. Unfortunately, I don't know if it was because the road was slick, they were speeding, or a combination of all the above. But the short version is the car hits the embankment because they take the turn too fast. The road's slick. They plow through the guard, the metal guard that was on the side of the road, and they hit a tree. Both of them sustained minor injuries, but they were both fine. The car, however, unfortunately did not survive. He had to total and scrap the car shortly afterwards, meaning that he lost all the money he invested into it, which was many thousands of dollars. For a high school student, that is quite a bit of money. But from that day forward, guys, by impression of buying expensive cars and investing the opinion really didn't change after that. It's really just kind of grown ever since those days on,
Man, you're just a
expensive
hater,
games.
man. Let people enjoy
No,
stuff.
if people decide to, that more all the power to you guys. But to me, I just don't fully agree with it. You know, you guys do you, but I'm fine with not purchasing $100,000 worth of vehicles.
If it's 100,000 worth on video games, now
I don't
it's
even think I spent
justified.
$100,000 on video games, man. I think that's a bit of a problem there if I'm dropping that kind of cash on a hobby. I'd rather invest that into like a house, paying bills, like student loan debt off, that kind of thing.
Student loan.
Yes.
What's that?
Yeah. Only POV. You live in Mexico and you hear an American guy talking about his college debt.
What a funny joke.
It's like college debt. What's that? What's college?
Anyways, guys, whatever is your hobby, if you like sports cars, enjoy your hobby. If you like video games, enjoy your hobby. Whatever it is that is your hobby, and you're not hurting anyone or buying something stupid like a Cybertruck.
Yeah. Yes. You gotta
have
spend your
fun.
money how you want. All hobbies are genuinely respected here. If you decide to invest the money and the time into it, enjoy the hobby. Just because someone doesn't agree or like it doesn't mean you should stop doing it. Just make sure that you're not, spending your entire life savings on a hobby. Make sure that you're being financially responsible, but enjoy your hobbies.
Hell yeah. Fortunately for me, my hobby is free. My hobby is following the Terminally Online Pen Pals podcast on Instagram and TikTok.
Wait, I thought we were charging people to follow us now.
TOPP.pod. But if you want to be, I'm just a casual fan, But if you want to be a true freaking top podhead,
Dedicated
donate to Kofi. We very much appreciate it. And
Yes,
like
we
and
do.
subscribe and comment. That's still free.
Yes. All of it's free, guys. And, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and follow us on all of the social media. Thank you guys for checking out this episode of the podcast as well. Been a pleasure to do another one for you guys. Next episode, we'll have more epic and amazing topics. And hopefully neither one of us have bought a Cybertruck by that point. That would make it for good clickbait, but not for a good bank account.
Yeah, I don't think I can make up the money in 2 weeks.
No, I don't think I can either. We got to
But,
try, though, man. I bet you if we pull together all the Kofi money we're going to get, we can
hell
afford
yeah.
a Cybertruck.
Anyways, guys, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Take care, guys.